In this video, we're going to have a look at how do we calculate the total surface area of a composite shape. So the question asks us to calculate the total surface area of the object shown. And that object shown is a rectangular prism and a triangular prism joined together. Now there are two different ways we can complete this calculation. The first is to find the total surface area of a rectangular prism using the formula. Then we go ahead and calculate the total surface area of a triangular prism. We add those two amounts together and then we subtract the area where the two shapes join together. That is the first way of doing the calculation. The second way of completing the calculation is going ahead and drawing a net of the shape. So drawing the net means we're breaking it down into each individual side and then calculating the area of each individual side and adding them together. For this video, we are going to go ahead and create the net and then calculate the total surface area using the net of the composite 3D shape. So to start drawing the net, we'll start with the bottom of the composite shape, and the bottom of my shape is going to be a rectangle. Now that I have my rectangle base, I can look and see what sides are joining on to that rectangular base, and I have 4 sides joining on. The first of those sides is a long rectangle that joins onto the long side of the rectangular base. So I can go ahead and add those 2 rectangles, one on each side, into my net drawing. I have also got 2 smaller rectangles at each end that also join onto the rectangular base. So I can go ahead and add in those 2 rectangles onto my net drawing. Now I have all the shapes that make up my rectangular prism part of the bottom of my 3D composite shape, and you'll see that I've only got 5 sides instead of 6. That is because the top of the rectangular prism isn't part of the total surface area, because that is where the triangular prism joins on. So now that I've got the net for the rectangular prism, I can go ahead and look at the triangular prism up the top, and we'll start off with our base, and we have a triangular base, and we have 2 of those triangles, one at each end. So I can go ahead and now draw 2 triangles into my net. To finish off the net, I need to add in the 2 rectangular sides that join my 2 triangles. So I now have all of the shapes that make up my triangular prism. Again, you will notice that I've only added 2 rectangular sides, not 3, as would normally be the case for a triangular prism. That's because the bottom of the triangular prism isn't part of the composite 3D shape, because it is where it joins onto the rectangular prism base. Now, if I was using formulas at this point, I would need to take off 2 rectangles, 1 rectangle from the rectangular prism and 1 rectangle from the triangular prism, to calculate or factor into my calculations that both of those shapes are missing 1 side each. But I'm not using the formulas. I'm going to go ahead and use my net to calculate each individual area and then add them together to reach my total surface area. So before I can do any calculations, I need to go ahead and add in my measurements onto my net from my diagram composite 3D shape. So I'll do that starting with my bottom rectangle, and that is going to be 5 meters by 18 meters. Now looking at the sides of my rectangular prism, the long side is going to be 18 by 3.5. So I can add that in. So 18 meters by 3.5 meters. And the shorter side of the rectangular prism is going to be 5 meters by 3.5 meters. So again, I can go ahead and add those in. So 5 meters, 3.5 meters. So moving on to my triangular prism up the top, the base of my triangular prism is going to be 5 meters because it joins onto the rectangle, and the height is 2.5. So I can go ahead and add that in. So 5 meters and a height of 2.5 meters. Put that off to the side because I don't have enough space. Now the last measurement I need to add in is my rectangular sides of the triangular prism. So it is going to be 18 meters long, and the width of that is going to be the side of my triangle, which I currently do not know, but I can calculate the side of my triangle using Pythagoras. So I've got a triangle, and I know the base of that triangle is 5 meters, and I know the height of that triangle is 2.5 meters. And if I split my triangle in half, I can form a right angle triangle. So my right angle triangle, I know the height is 2.5 meters. The base of my right angle triangle, if I cut my larger triangle in half, is going to be 2.5 meters, because half of 5 is 2.5. So I can go ahead and calculate what the side of that triangle is going to be using Pythagoras. So c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So c squared is going to equal 2.5 squared plus 2.5 squared. So c squared is going to equal to 12.5. So my c value will equal the square root of 12.5, which is equal to 3.54 centimeters. So the length of the side of my triangle is going to be 3.5 centimeters. So the rectangular sides of my triangular prism is going to be 18 meters long and 3.54 meters wide. So now I've got all the measurements I need to complete my individual area calculations. I'm going to go ahead, label each of my sides, and then calculate their individual area. So side A, side B, and I've got two of those size rectangles, so I'll call them both B, because I only need to do my calculation once. Side C, side D, and side E. So I've got 5 sides I need to calculate the area of, and then after I've done those 5 sides, I need to add the area of each of my sides together to get total surface area. So starting off with the area of A, and it's a rectangle, so length times width. So it's going to be 18 times by 5, which is equal to 90 meters squared. Moving on to area of B, another rectangle, length times width. So that's going to be 5 times 3.5, which is equal to 17.5 meters squared. Area of C, length times width. So 18 times 3.5, which is equal to 63 meters squared. Area of D, now D is a triangle, so it'd be base times height divided by 2, which is equal to 5 times 2.5, and then divided by 2, which is equal to 6.25 meters square. And finally the area of E, which is another rectangle, so length times width, so 18 times 3.54, which is equal to 63.72 meters squared. So now I've got each of the individual areas I need to calculate total surface area. I might go ahead and add them onto my diagram. So A is 90 meters squared, B is 17.5 meters squared, C is 63 meters squared, D is going to be 6.25 meters squared, and E is 63.72 meters squared. So my final step is to go ahead and calculate the total surface area. So total surface area is going to equal to the area of A plus 2 times the area of B, because I've got 2 triangles, plus 2 times the area of C, plus 2 times area of D, plus 2 times area of E. So that's going to equal to 90 plus 2 times 17.5 plus 2 times 63 plus 2 times 6.25 plus 2 times 63.72. Now doing that calculation on your calculator, the total surface area is going to equal to 390.94 meters square. So the total surface area of the composite 3D shape shown, which was a rectangular prism and a triangular prism joined together, is 390.94 meters squared.